up, y'all? It's your girl T. Louise, and you are tuned in to Twisted Twenties. Today's podcast episode is sponsored by my company, The Major Comeback, where we specialize in apparel dedicated to reminding God's people of their God-given purpose. And you can check out some of our merch at themajorcomeback.com. All right, y'all. Welcome back to Twisted Twenties. Okay, y'all. Welcome back to Twisted Twenties. Listen, I am so excited for this new month. Like, this is the last episode of May, and June is literally like a few days away. And I feel like the month of June is going to be so full of opportunities. I feel like June is going to be the month where God is going to start really placing me in the rooms that he needs me to be in. He's going to start opening those doors that he has been promising that he's going to open up for me. Like, there is so much going on. Like, oh, it's so much going on. Like, your girl has her first live interview coming up. Like, it is so much going on in this Twisted 20s world. And I'm just so excited to just really just have, like, the front seats, the passenger seats. And so same in everybody else's life. I feel like God is really going to be blessing each and every single one of us and taking us to those areas in our lives that he needs us to be in. And so, as I promised last week, I will be reading an online submission that someone sent to me. And I feel like this particular submission is perfect for this episode because I have felt the way that this person has felt before. But I have also talked about the feelings that this person is talking about before as well. So, with that being said, I will do that and then we will get into the episode for today. So, hey T. Louise, I'm going to be 21 soon and I feel like I'm a failure. I feel really lost and I suck at everything I do. I'm exhausted all the time and I have extreme anxiety. I know that you have felt like a failure before, so I feel like you can give me some advice. I know that I'm only 21 years old, but I don't want to feel like this. What can I do? So, I have talked about this before. You cannot equate your failures that you experience in life to yourself because you are not a failure. Your business may have failed. You may have failed that class. You may have failed at pursuing something, but you are not a failure. It's taken me a long time to really get out of that mindset. It starts in the mind. So the first thing that I would literally tell you to do, from my own experience, is to allow God to. I have in the past, I failed because I was planning without God. God would give me ideas or he would place ideas on the inside of me and then I would just take them and run with them on my own. The person never really explained, how they, what failures they necessarily experience. But from my own experience, I have failed because I was planning without God. So my advice to you would to simply be to consult God. Like, you have to ask God. And at 21 years old, like, you still can be purposeful. Like, you still can pursue your purpose, but you have to consult God. Like, you have to say, God, what is it that I was created to do? What is it that you need me to do? I'm going to share a prayer with you guys at the end of this episode that you guys can literally pray and ask God. And it's a prayer that I prayed all last year. It's a prayer I still pray to this day because I know that God is not done placing me in the rooms that he needs me to be in or placing the people in my life that he needs in my life. So my advice to you would to be to consult God. You are not a failure. You are only 20. Like, you're finna be 21 years old. Like, you are not a failure. And let me tell you something. This, whatever you have failed at, will not be the only failure. You will experience a lot of failures. And so it's best for you to separate failure and I am a failure right now. Because if not, you're going to live your life connecting every failure to yourself. And you are not a failure. So things fail all the time. Businesses fail. Opportunities fail to come through. Money fail to come through. It's a lot of things that fail. So you can't equate yourself to the failure. Y'all, okay, With that being said, y'all, today's episode is so important. Everybody cannot go. It's time to get comfortable with the uncomfortable. Y'all, it took me a long time to understand that everybody cannot go. And my favorite example that I can give you right now is an elevator. An elevator can only hold a certain amount of weight. If you exceed that weight, I don't know what's going to happen to the elevator. I'm assuming it can't go up. I'm assuming it's not. I don't know. It's out of order. You've reached max capacity. And so, same thing with your life. Everybody cannot go. God has a max capacity for your life, a max capacity for the people in your circle. And one thing I'm going to be talking about next month is like placing people where they deserve to go, because everybody doesn't deserve to be in certain areas of your heart. So with that being said, y'all, we're going to go ahead and get into today's podcast episode. So I felt like this would be a good episode to kind of end the month off with, especially with where I feel like God is taking me, and where I also feel like God is taking a lot of other people. Um, it was something that was very hard for me to understand in the past, is that everybody cannot go. And there are certain, today we talked about in church, and I love how God literally connects my episodes to stuff that we really learn in church, because it's like every Sunday when I record my podcast, I've literally learned something like the same day at church that had to do with my podcast. And so today, our pastor was talking about relationships, and he was talking about what relationships need to be nurtured, what relationships need to be severed, what relationships need to be initiated, what relationships need to be restored. And so for this particular episode is everybody cannot go. There are some relationships in your life that need to be severed. There are certain relationships in your life that will have to be cut, and you will have to let it go. I have had very painful experiences with letting go of relationships that I have tried to hang on to, or that I've tried to nurture, that really needed to be severed. I have a few experiences, but I'm not going to dive into every single one of them. But let's just say, for the purpose of this episode, that I have tried to hold on to people longer than I was supposed to. And I ended up being the one hurt the most. And one thing that I've come to understand is that sometimes God will get you along. Excuse me. God will get you alone so that he can really elevate you, so that he can detox you, so that he can purify you. Like, that's something that I've really learned. Like, after my mom passed, I had literally nobody. And, and it's no disrespect to my friends, no disrespect to any family members, but I was alone. I had nobody. After a few months, the calls stopped coming, the texts stopped coming. I was literally alone. And it was in that time where depression got a hold of me. It was in that time where loneliness got a hold of me. But it was also in that time where God got a hold of me. And he really helped me to understand the value of me being alone. And he helped me to understand the value of being alone with God. There's a difference between being alone, feeling lonely, and being alone with God. Because when you spend time alone with God, you have time to really learn who you are. You have time to really learn your purpose. You have time to really learn why certain relationships, friendships didn't work out. When when God separated me from literally everybody after my mom passed away, I thought that, I'm not going to lie, I was angry. I was angry and I felt abandoned. And not just by my family and friends, but by my mom because she was gone. So it really even didn't have really much to do with anybody else, but the fact that my mom was gone and I felt abandoned. But the fact that my family and friends weren't really there either also made me feel abandoned. And it was uncomfortable. I was used to being the one that had friends. I was used to hanging out with my friends. I'm used to, being able to go out, and it was uncomfortable. It was also uncomfortable for me to not have my mom. And this episode is not about, grief and me losing my mom, but I'm just giving you guys examples of how God elevated me in my alone time. After my mom passed away, and me and Babe moved to Atlanta in 2020, because I think, no, or was it 2021? 2021, I think. No, it was 2020. It was. We moved to Georgia in 2020. I'm literally just now coming out of that alone time this year. But I'm seeing God work in ways of elevation that I've never seen before. Not just in elevation in my connections and networking, but connections in my faith. Elevation in my faith, elevation in my trust with Him, elevation in my growth with Him. I'm seeing elevation in a lot of areas. There was a point in my life where I was so uncomfortable with being alone. There was a point in my life where I was so uncomfortable with the grief, with the depression. And God said, I need you to get comfortable here. I need you to get comfortable being uncomfortable. Because being uncomfortable is what's going to push you to get out of this. Everybody cannot go with you. Everybody will not go with you where you are going. God will not allow everybody to go with you. And let me repeat that. God will not allow everybody to go with you where you are going, where He is taking you. He will not allow everybody to go. Everybody will not have access. Access will be denied. Okay? Access denied. And this is why. I will tell you this. It's a secret. The reason why everybody cannot go is because everybody cannot go with you because there are certain people in your life that are holding you back. There are certain people in your life that really are not genuine. There are certain people in your life who simply just, unfortunately, sometimes people just don't want to see you get to where you are going. There are going to be people who come into your life who, seem like they are your friend and they really have your best interests at heart. But in reality, when it comes time to support you, they don't support you at all. There are going to be people in your life who you give your all to, but they don't even give you 5% of themselves. There are going to be people in your life that come in and mistreat you, abuse you, talk about you behind your back, but smile in your face. We call those backstabbers. There are going to be people who come in your life who mean you no good at all. And sometimes, if you're like me, because I have such a big heart and I love everybody, and I will literally give if I have it. Because I am that way, I will allow everybody a place in my heart. And that is not healthy. And the reason I say that is because there's a place for everybody. You can't put everybody in the same category. You can't put everybody in that same cubby in your heart. And that's how I ended up hurt a lot of the time. Because I'm expecting me out of others when they are not me. God sees everything. God hears what people are saying behind your back. God hears people's plans. God hears and knows people's plots. Sometimes God simply doesn't allow people to come with you because sometimes you have friends only for certain seasons. Sometimes you have friends that come in your life only for certain situations, certain seasons and parts of your life. I've had friends like that. I had a friend in high school. I really and truly believe that she was one of my best friends. I considered her to be like a sister. But I believe that friendship was solely primarily for me to be pulled out of relationships that were not healthy for me. They were not good for my own mental health. They were not good for my own future. And I believe that because when I started hanging out with her, I stopped hanging out with them. And I changed for the better because I wasn't doing too hot when I was hanging out with the other people. So, but it was like, after graduation, after we graduated and, things changed. She had a baby. We kind of went our separate ways. I still love her so truly to this day. And if she ever called and said she needed anything and I had it, I would give it to her. But we do not talk. There are friendships like that. Everybody cannot go with you where God is taking you. God will bring people into your lives that will elevate you. He will bring people in your life who will pour into your ideas, who will finance your ideas, who will believe in your ideas. He will bring people into your life who will help to build those ideas. He will bring people into your life that will love you for you. Everybody cannot go. I know that, when we get big, we want to bring everybody on. But sometimes a lot of us, we got some snakes in the garden. And those same snakes that's sitting around, smiling and grinning in our face, is waiting on the perfect moment to strike. And I believe that's why God allows relations. Well, in my life personally, I believe that's why God has demolished. That's the best word I can use, is demolish. I believe that is why he's demolished certain relationships in my life. I had a childhood friend. I thought we were going to be friends forever. We were making plans. We were going to start a YouTube channel. We were going to travel the world. We were going to do this. We were going to do that. But she was a snake. God demolished that relationship. He knew that if he did not demolish the relationship in the way that he did, that I would still hold on to her. I would still hold on to her. Because a part of me felt like I owed her. And sometimes that's why we hold on to relationships. Because we feel like we owe that person. They were there for me in my darkest times. They were there for me when I had nobody. And sometimes people know that. Sometimes people know that that's how you feel. And they will milk it. They will take it to the head. I had to get comfortable with literally having nobody. So when God started placing people in my life, I talked about this in a blog last week. I have two friends that literally changed my view of friendship. I would even say three. I'm going to say two friends. The other girl is like a sister to me. But I'm going to talk about my two friends. I have two friends. One of them is Sade and one of them is Naira. Sade came in my life. I met her. We were work besties. I met her working for Bath and Body Works. This girl has put me on to so much. She is a supportive friend. She's the type of friend that calls you out the blue to say, hey, I listened to your podcast and it was freaking fire. She supports you and I support her. She celebrates your wins and I celebrate her wins. It's not one-sided. I have another friend. She doesn't live in Atlanta, which is really sad because I really wish she did. But she's like my big sister. She supports you even when she's going through some of her darkest moments. She has changed the game for female relationships for me. I've shared some of my most intimate secrets with her. I'm talking about them because these are the type of people that you take with you. These are the type of people that you build relationships with. These are the type of people that God brings into your life to break barriers that you've built around yourself because of the hurt and pain that someone else has caused. And this is exactly why everybody cannot go. Because it's best for us, and I'm being honest, it's best for us to shed and let go and cut ties of every relationship. Allow God to demolish. The prayers I'm going to give y'all is some heavy prayers, but they are prayers that need to be prayed. Because what you don't want to happen is that you get to this place where God has taken you and then you have snakes in your garden. You have snakes around you. And let me tell you something about snakes. Because I know about snakes. Snakes will lie on you. Snakes will manipulate you. Snakes will use you. Snakes will abuse you. Snakes will talk about you behind your back. Snakes might even steal from you. Everybody cannot go. I know that's a hard lesson to learn. Some of us have friends from high school. Some of us, have friends from childhood. And we're like, yeah, when this happens, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. And God, excuse me. And God is like, no. I've always been a people person. I've always made connections with people. I've always been friendly, always been able to just talk to any and everybody. But I'm not for everybody. My mama used to tell me that. I never understood it until this year. I'm not for everybody. Those of you who listen to Twisted Twenties, I'm for you. Those of you who listen to me every Monday, I'm for you. Those of you who really want help in areas that y'all are really struggling in y'all's 20s, I'm for you. Y'all are the type of people that can go with me on this journey. Y'all are on this journey with me. Everybody cannot go. God has a max capacity for the people in your life, the people in your heart. I'm going to tell y'all the prayers. And I'm gonna do a little advisory. pray at your own risk. Because when you pray these prayers, expect God to move. And I don't want y'all emailing me saying, T. Louise, you told me to pray this prayer and I don't have no friends. You know what my response is going to be? Well, they want your friends. God has better. God has better. So I'm going to tell you, if you are not ready to be in a lone season, and I'm not saying alone means zero friends, zero people around you. I had people around me in my alone season. But I didn't have a lot of people around me in my alone season. I had like 2 or 3 people. And maybe just 2 at that. The first prayer, and I'm going to go in order because this is what you want. This is what I've learned in my prayer time. Is like, you have to ask God to remove something, but you also have to ask him to replace it. So my first prayer that I'm going to share with you guys to pray to God when it comes to understanding who in your life needs to be let go of, what relationships need to be severed, and who are these people that cannot go with you where God is taking you, is God, demolish, okay? It's a big word. And when I say demolish, I mean demolish. God, demolish and sever any relationship that is not conducive to my purpose. Remove people, situations from my life that are not going to connect me with my purpose. The second prayer, God, please place people in my life that is going to help me to fulfill the purpose that you have for me. Allow me to have genuine relationships and connections and real friends. The reason why I say that is because I won't say that I never had real friends. I will say in high school I probably had about 2 real friends. That would be Emanuela and David, in my opinion. And then my best friend Demonte. So I would say about 2 or 3 real friends that I've experienced in high school. Me, David, Emanuela, Demonte, we still talk to this day. Since I have become an adult, making friends in your 20s is different. Sometimes you got to initiate some relationships. And sometimes you also have to pray about relationships. Because at this part of my life, I'm not interested in being friends with just any and everybody. When I was in elementary, middle school, and high school, I wanted to be friends with everybody. I wanted friends. But in this area of my life, I cannot afford to be friends with just any and everybody. I want to be friends with the people that God is going to place in my life, that's going to influence my life, that's going to help me to get to where I need to get, to fulfill whatever it is that God has for me to fulfill. And when you pray these prayers, expect God to move in ways that you did not expect. Expect God to demolish and sever relationships, because he will do it. There are some relationships that will be torn away from you that may also need to be restored and rebuilt later on. Because in this time in your life, in this season, that relationship is not conducive to your purpose or your assignment at the moment. I have had relationships that I have had to kind of let go of at the time being. And now they're starting to circle back around, and I'm feeling the urge to restore and rebuild those. But God will let you know what relationships are like that. Because everybody cannot go with you. God will not allow everybody to go with you either. Because what I've learned is sometimes, whether we want to or not, God will demolish our relationships. Whether we ask Him or not, He will still do it. And He might do it after you don't listen to this episode and you still ain't asked. He may say, I got somewhere to take you, and these people, they're not good for you. You don't hear what they're saying behind your back. You don't hear the plans and the schemes that they have for you. I'm going to say the prayers one more time so that you guys can hear them again. They reworded. Okay. God, demolish and sever relationships, situations, and things that are not conducive to my purpose or my assignment. And then I want you to ask God to reveal and ask Him to place the people in your life that are going to help you to fulfill the purpose that He has for you. God, fill my life with genuine relationships, connections, and friends. Y'all, get uncomfortable. Get comfortable with the uncomfortable. Being alone is going to be uncomfortable, but it is a process that we all must embark on. It is a process that we all must embrace. There is elevation in the alone time. There is elevation in the uncomfortable. God is calling you for more. He is taking you to higher places. And in order to get to the next level, sometimes you have to let people go. Everybody cannot go. My mom used to tell me that all the time. Everybody cannot go. She would say, everybody can't go, Twinkie. That's what her nickname for me was, Twinkie. And she would say, everybody cannot go. And I didn't understand that. And right after she passed, I really understood that. Because people started dropping like flies. God will put you in certain situations, and He will reveal to you who is really there for you and who really isn't. Make sure you guys email me submissions@twistedtwenties.org. YouTube channel is coming soon. I will be letting y'all know when videos drop, and when to subscribe. I'm also thinking about putting together my first event. I gotta pray about it, but I want to put something together, and I want to bring people together, and I want to do some things with y'all. I want to meet my listeners. I love y'all. And I hope that this episode has impacted your life. I hope that it's helped you to understand that everybody can't go. And I hope that you really allow God to really sever and demolish relationships that are not conducive to your purpose. I really do. I love y'all. Peace, love, and blessings. T. Louise.